do you need a minimum amount of revenue to get the Innovator ILR status at the end of your 3 years? Well, the answer is no. The Home Office are looking at the moment at what you said in your original business plan. And they ask specifically at the ILR stage for your original business plan, not any amended business plan, which may have been produced subsequently. Now, there's some potential complexities to that, which I can talk about in a minute. But the bottom line is there's no minimum. And some of my clients have got through on the basis of low amounts. Some of my clients have gone through considerably higher amounts, right, where they've gone in excess of 1 million and they're going for that success criterion. But if you're just going for the 50K and R&D and potentially the doubling criterion, and you're covered on that front, then you just need to show that you've made significant achievements judged against your business plan. And as I said, as a matter of practice, the Home Office is looking back to what you said in the original business plan. Now, a lot of people have really exaggerated or very optimistic financial projections because, of course, the pressure at that stage, especially at the endorsement stage, is to say, yeah, I'm going to make this amount or this amount or this amount. So it tends to push up the amount at the beginning. But when you get towards the end of the 3 years, then you're trying to push down the amount, right? Depending on how you've done. So some of my clients have exceeded their financial projections. Others have met them. Others have done less, and others have done considerably less. But so far, it hasn't affected their ability to get indefinite leave to remain. Now, when I say there's complexities, right? Some people have chosen to extend, for example, and then the second 3 years. In those situations, sometimes it's best to do a new business plan to get that approved because the language of the immigration rules refers to the last endorsement. So there is an opportunity if you extend to decrease the projections to something much lower. Now, in terms of what the threshold is objectively, right, the success criterion referred to 1,500,000. Of course, you don't need to meet that level. You could go for some of the other success criterion. But that's the sort of threshold. But people have gone way over the top, in many cases, and saying, 6 million, 10 million or higher during the visa term. Now, surprisingly, I have had clients who've done way over 1 million, several million. But the majority of the people, especially with software products where it takes some time to get traction, have not done that. Now, how low can you push this? Well, with global talent, right, with the other visa category, there's just this general requirement to earn money in the UK, but there's no de minimis amount in that context. And I have pushed it low, very low in that context with global talent applications to, a few thousand or less, and people have still got ILR. But no sum is specified there. And the difference under the Innovator Founder rules is that there's this reference to the original business plan. So you can get through. I wouldn't be too worried on the basis of the amount of revenue alone in terms of your prospects being affected for Innovator Founder ILR. Now, what should you do? How should you approach this? Well, if your revenue is very low for Innovator Founder ILR, you need to emphasize in your responses to the Home Office the other significant achievements that you've made. And I would expressly state that by saying, look, this is the amount I've done. And among the other milestones that I stated I would achieve in my original business plan, I said A, B, C, and I've done B and C. So that's the first thing. I'd recommend doing that. And as I say, if you are opting to extend, I wouldn't just go for an extension application purely on the basis that you're worried about revenue. But if you are just going for an extension, or your endorsing body says no, we're only prepared to endorse for an extension, then that's the juncture at which to amend the business plan. I'd go through a formal process with that and get express sign-off by the endorsing body. And presumably there's some leverage at that stage, right? Because they're saying no to you, we're only prepared to extend. You can go back and say, well, okay, but I want to amend the figures. The figures were a little high first time round. And you can, under the rules, apply for ILR into, let's say, after the next review juncture. You don't have to wait another 3 years in order to apply. So far, as a matter of practice, the Home Office has, at least in the cases I've been dealing with, taken into account achievements during and the facts, if you like, during the first visa term, as well as in the second visa term. So it ought not to be the case that everything is reset for the second visa term where you're back to square one. However, each case turns on its own facts, and I'd be happy to speak with you if that's an issue in your case. So those are the things that I'd recommend. The other point thinking about it is you should. There's going to be an extra emphasis if a small amount of money was a relatively small amount of money was earned or revenue was earned. They will look very carefully at that. They'll do basically a forensic accountancy analysis on it, if you like. They'll want the invoices, the comms, nature of all the transactions, and they'll want to make sure that that money came into your UK company in respect of the innovative product and not in respect of something ancillary. And that's where you can get, products versus services. Was the money earned in connection with the innovative thing that you said you would be doing, or in connection with the product, or was it something that's ancillary? And was that contemplated by the original business plan expressly or impliedly? So that's the other point, is to gather your evidence. Now, I say gather the evidence because, in theory, the Home Office should just grant the application if you get the endorsement letter. But as I've said in other videos, that's simply not the case. The endorsement letter, now they attach very little, if any, weight to it, the Home Office. They will just assess you themselves against the test. They will ask for everything, and they will do their own assessment and basically conduct an interview by way of email exchange. They'll send you an email, give you 10 days to respond. You'll respond, then there'll be stage 2, then stage 3, usually 5 or 6 or more stages of interview questions at the ILR stage after you've got the ILR endorsement letter. So don't be fooled into thinking the process is effectively, a done deal once you get the ILR endorsement letter. Now, they will, if they don't agree that you meet the ILR success criteria, then they will consider you for an extension. They have to. And so you might take the view that you want to apply for ILR anyway, on the basis that if you don't get it, then you're going to get, they'll consider you for an extension. But you need to then, they'll write back to you, say, look, we're not going to accept you for ILR, but we want to grant you an extension. You need to pay the NHS surcharge because you wouldn't have done that as main applicant at that point. And then they'd go, God willing, grant the extension. But on that point alone, there's other issues in connection with Innovator Founder ILR, but on that point alone, on revenue, I just wanted to make all of that clear. If you are making an application, I wish you the best of luck. If you do want assistance, feel free to get me on my consultation service. You can reach me on my link just in the description below. Thanks. Bye for now.